Hey, 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 how's it going, everybody? All right, guys, we got a major showdown that's going on in the sanctuary cities, blue states, as these blue cities are doing everything that they can to try to stop Donald Trump from getting these illegal criminals out of our country in what to me is one of the most insane showdowns of all time. All right, check this out.
So the Democratic resistance to the incoming Trump administration is growing. The Oregon Attorney General is now creating a sanctuary toolkit, as they call it, to help residents refresh their knowledge of the state's relevant laws, specifically those related to sanctuary policies. California's Governor Gavin Newsom is also reportedly considering a, quote, immigrant support plan, he's calling it, to counter those deportations. The program would connect at-risk individuals and their families with community systems such as legal services and schools. Arizona Republican Congresswoman Debbie Lesko says this.
Why would Democrats want to, provide a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants and prioritize illegal over American citizens? I don't get it. But they've been doing this for years. I've been in the state legislature, then in Congress, and they keep prioritizing illegal immigrants over U.S. citizens. It's a real head scratcher. I don't get it.
So far, at least 6 blue cities so far have strengthened their sanctuary laws since Trump's election win. Incoming border czar Tom Homan has a simple warning for all those jurisdictions: get out of the way. But of course, some Democrats are digging in.
We're not going to cooperate. We're not going to ask our police force to serve as ICE agents.
I'm going to do everything that I can to protect our undocumented immigrants. They're residents of our state.
I will fight you every step of the way.
If it's contrary to our values, we will fight to the death.
Would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not.
We are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear.
Texas Republican Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne, a member of the Ways and Means and Small Business Committees, joins me now. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me on.
I want to talk about this program 287 because clearly, this is the wave of the future. This should be enacted in every single state. Mass deportations are going to be hard enough, but a lot of those that are being deported are criminals, and they are repeat criminals. So this means that if there is a criminal, an illegal immigrant that's in jail, that illegal immigrant is not going to be re-released into the public so that they can continue to commit crimes. They will be handed over to ICE. Even somebody who commits a DUI, it doesn't have to be a violent crime. You commit a crime, you go to ICE, you go back to your country. What is wrong with that? Why would any Democrat want to promote allowing these illegal immigrant criminals to go back onto the streets to reoffend?
And we just saw them, too. We just saw my Democrat colleagues all vote against having people who are here who are getting stopped for things like DUI go back. We just had a vote on that recently in Congress. The question is, why? I can't answer that. I've had experience with this personally when I was mayor, when I was on the city council. I was a big supporter of 287G. We actually created a program in my city of Irving, Texas, where we worked partnership with ICE, with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. When you have your local enforcement, your law enforcement agents, your local police working with federal law enforcement agents, it's the best partnership. Democrats, you've tried it your way. You've seen what's happened. You have seen women who have been, put on fire in your subways. You have seen mobs who have taken over apartment complexes. You have seen murders. You've seen rapes. You've seen beatings of police officers. We've tried it your way. Why don't you try enforcing the law? Why don't you try working with law and federal law enforcement and protecting your citizens? It works. We had a lot of criticism when I did it in Irving, Texas. And the fact is, what we saw was the lowest crime rates our city has ever had. Yeah. We became the 5th city in the country. And far from people wanting to move, people wanted to move in. And I am all supportive of Tom Homan and working with him. I have sent out a letter to mayors in my district saying, we want to teach you more about this partnership. We want you to have the resources that you need. We're going to be having roundtables. We're probably going to invite Tom to come and see if he wants to address any of our mayors or local law enforcement to tell them how to do it better. This is what Republicans, this is what Democrats in these representative cities should be doing.
This is something that both Republicans and Democrats should be doing for the American people. This is what any New Yorker would want to see done. I mean, the crime rate in these cities are astronomical, especially since the pandemic. And a lot of these cities that are Democratic cities just continue to welcome the crime by busing in and allowing illegal immigrants to live for free in hotels. It's got to stop. Incoming border czar Tom Homan said this about the cost, not just the human toll, but the cost of the administration's border plans. Watch.
Congress needs to fund this deportation operation. They need to understand, yeah, it's going to be expensive in the beginning, but in the long run, it's going to save billions of dollars of taxpayers' money. We are talking about the biggest national security vulnerability this country has. $86 billion is a start. We need at least that to do this operation.
So $86 billion from Congress. You know, obviously, that the Democrats are going to argue against that. There's an opinion piece which argues that there should not be a price tag for border security, saying, quote, securing the border will cost money, but leaving it open will be far more expensive. U.S. taxpayers were on the hook for over $150 billion to support illegal aliens in 2023, according to a new report from the Department of Government Efficiency. Democrats have no leg to stand on when it comes to overspending, because, I mean, the trillions of dollars that this country is in debt on absolute pork BS. I mean, that this administration has spent money on. This is the future. And the money, you can't put a dollar or a price tag on women and children that are being abused daily and killed.
Guys, these sanctuary cities are putting political ideology above public safety by refusing to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. It's absolutely insane to me that we can allow these policies to continue. These policies undermine the rule of law. They create safe havens for, think about it, safe havens for individuals who've entered the country illegally, some of whom have committed serious crimes. We've been covering this a lot on the channel recently, but here's the reason. The real victims here are law-abiding citizens, you and me, and also legal immigrants who deserve a secure and orderly immigration system. We got to stop this insanity. Yo, want to shout out to everybody watching on the stream. What's going on, Joel, in the chat? Let's go. Good to see you, bro. Hey, everybody. Big shout out to Joel and his channel over there, True Life News. True Life News. Fantastic channel. Go check it out. All right, guys, let's continue this journey. But, hey, guys, I've got some announcements at the end of the video, so stay tuned, guys. But we're going to continue watching this video right here because just some crazy things going on with these sanctuary cities.
Yeah, you're seeing sex trafficking, you're seeing human trafficking, you're seeing drug trafficking, gang violence, and they're trying to put a price tag on it. But listen to Governor Newsom. Do they have that much money that can actually now just give it away to people who are here illegally? And what do they think that effect is? You're incentivizing people now to come into your cities, into your country, into neighborhoods. And committing these crimes. You're incentivizing. If they have that much money, then they don't need to receive it from the federal government. And I'll tell you, I put a bill down that if you are a sanctuary city and you're not doing your best to be able to protect your citizens, you should not be getting congressionally delegated funds. So I have introduced that bill. We'll see how much Democrat support it gets. But absolutely, we have a $36 trillion budget. We have seen hundreds of thousands of people who've been killed as a result of fentanyl deaths, because we've got all of this stuff coming in over our borders. And they are spending, Rand Paul just came out with his Festivus list of government waste. $1 trillion is what he's estimating it at. Yep. And we are sending millions and millions and millions of dollars to other countries to protect their borders. So obviously Democrats are supporting that spend. They're recognizing the fact that you need it in other countries, but they don't respect it in our own country. Yeah.
They don't deserve to be reelected. And I think it's time that the American people actually speak up, because this is not going to win elections. It's not going to win over the American people. I want to switch gears here for a second here. President-elect Trump's Department of Government Efficiency is also already facing pushback from the Biden administration and Democratic lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Co-chairs Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy say the goal here is to slash billions in federal spending. Now, some of their priorities include deleting the IRS, ending the Federal Reserve, and ending remote work, privatizing the mail service, among other things. And while the agency could face challenges on Capitol Hill, of course, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul says he's hopeful for this new agency. Listen.
Ultimately, it takes Congress. Congress has to get rid of the spending. DOGE can point out the spending problems and the waste the same way I've been pointing it out. But the reason it's not eliminated is they don't have the votes to get rid of the spending. So I am very hopeful that DOGE will draw attention to this.
What do you make of this? I mean, obviously cuts need to be made, and you need to make those cuts in order to be able to afford other things. But I love the idea of making people go to work. Gee, what a concept.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I was part of the Trump administration's first go around. I worked at HUD, and they had 3-day-a-week telework. This is way before COVID ever hit. There were people in that office I never met because they figured out how to either take their 2 days off that they're supposed to be in their office, either on vacation or, at an event or something like that. But literally, how do you build a team when you don't have people coming to work? Not to mention the fact, the waste that we spend on leases. You could shoot a cannon through many of these federal buildings and never touch a single soul because they're empty, and yet we're having to spend all that money on leases every year.
Yeah.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. You start looking at the COVID dollars and how they were, fraudulently accepted and taken. There's a lot of waste, and I can't imagine anybody defending the waste. Why would you spend billions of dollars on lease money for buildings that are empty? Who does that help? It doesn't help the American citizens. It just continues to take tax dollars and divert them away from programs that we actually do need to programs that are a waste. So I'm hopeful. I've talked about regulations and cutting them for years now. I've always said it's not going to be sexy, it's not going to be exciting, and it's never going to make a headline.
Right.
Boy, was I wrong. You put people like Vivek and you put people like Elon Musk in charge of it, and that's exactly what happens. But I'm optimistic. And I think once these Democrats actually start seeing these are the programs that are on the line, it will not affect your residents except in a positive manner. Right. Government will run more efficiently. It will be more effective. Those are positive things that we should all be for. And I'm supportive of this effort. I'm part of the DOGE caucus. Yep. I've gone to the meetings with Elon and Vivek, and what they're saying needs to be said. And I'm excited to be able to take some of the ideas that they say and put it into bill. Put it into appropriations.
I have to say, I'm very much looking forward to the change that's coming around the corner. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Thank you.
My bad. There we go. Little technical difficulties there. Hey, guys, again, welcome to the stream. Everyone that's watching. Guys, it's insane what's going on right now. Even pushback against DOGE. Like, the Democrats just want to push back literally against everything. But by defying Trump's immigration policies, think about it. Blue cities are undermining the efforts of federal authorities to secure our borders and enforce existing laws. Like, it's just crazy, these leftist policies. This approach, look at it. It effectively rewards illegal immigration. It sends a message to the world that America's borders can be ignored. We're open for business, guys. You can just walk across. It's a slap in the face. Honestly, it's a slap in the face to those who follow the legal process to become citizens. It's like, oh, you want to come over here legally? You're one of those. Wow. Man, it's just crazy to me, everything that's happening right now. But, hey, big shout out to Gene in the chat. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Okay, y'all check out this next clip here, guys, because just everything's going on in these sanctuary cities. Insanity.
Okay, Rich, the debate is raging right now in Democrat-run cities and states across the country on whether or not to assist or resist Trump's mass deportation plans. Chris Clem is a retired Yuma Sector Border Patrol chief joining us now to talk about this. Let's put up a map of these cities, states that are opposing the mass deportation plan. You got New Jersey up there, California, New Mexico, New York, Michigan, North Carolina, Massachusetts, Boston, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Some of these cities have problems of their own with crime, homelessness, you name it. Gavin Newsom in California is taking a similar measure in trying to sort of build resources to help these illegal immigrants in his state. So ICE can't really do their job, Chris, without the help of the state, without coordination with state authorities. So how does the Trump administration, as it comes in, how do they deal with this?
Well, good morning. And, I think having a veteran like Tom Homan, as the borders are, leading the charge with this is going to be just fine for those that are pro-integrity, pro-law enforcement, and pro-immigration enforcement. We have the resources. We're going to be able to respond accordingly. But let's really focus on what these blue cities and blue governors are doing. They're grasping at straws because this is a federal responsibility. They're going to get this job done, but they're going to have a talking point that's going to bring out emotions, and they're going to invoke dreamers and family separation. Reality is the president has said that we're targeting national security interests, public safety threats, and these governors and mayors should cooperate. And let's focus on working together so we can go into the jails and get these criminals, as opposed to releasing them and having to run the communities and putting everybody at risk. Why don't we focus on protecting the citizenry here in the United States and work together, rather than just cry and focus on the small segment that they want to protect. America voted for President Trump in this agenda. Even states like Arizona voted for President Trump, and we passed a pro-border security bill in the state. So they need to get behind the administration and work towards accomplishing a common goal of protecting the United States.
I mean, this feels like it has all the makings of a huge political firestorm in the first couple of weeks as Trump gets into office. I mean, we're in for a battle, it seems, where states are going to be, fighting with this administration when really we should all be fighting against these cartels. This is no easy undertaking. Let's talk about the money, because we haven't quite heard a dollar figure yet until this week when Tom Homan, the border czar, told Fox Business what he thinks he's estimating to be the cost of all of this. Watch this.
Congress needs to fund this deportation operation. They need to understand, yeah, it's going to be expensive in the beginning, but in the long run, it's going to save billions of dollars of taxpayers' money. We are talking about the biggest national security vulnerability this country has. $86 billion is a start. We need at least that to do this operation.
$86 billion, he says, is the starting point. So that's a lot of money for taxpayers, especially as people are hit with the economy and inflation. How does the president make a case for this?
Well, I think if you let Senator Rand Paul and Vivek and Ilan go at it, they could probably find that $86 billion before the show ends. There's a lot of government spending that goes on to things that aren't supporting enforcement and not in supporting the desires of the American people. So they're going to find that money. We're going to be able to use the resources we have. And a lot of the facilities are necessary to properly detain the migrants before they get removed or before they have their hearings. So we need to do this, and we do this right. It is going to be a logistic challenge, but a lot of the facilities are there. They just need the support and the ability to go out there and do their job. They've been handcuffed for the last 4 years under the Biden administration. We're actually going to have an opportunity to put handcuffs on the bad guys under this administration. So, yeah, it's going to be costly. But when you look at the impacts and you break it down, if there's 10 million undocumented aliens here in the United States, that's what, $8,600 out of that $86 billion price tag. That's not very much when you look at the impacts that so many of these criminal gangs and cartels have caused the American people and the migrants themselves. So I think it's money well spent. The American people knew what they were getting when they voted for President Trump. And, that's a mandate as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, we shall see. It's definitely going to be something to see.
Y'all can't hear me. Sorry. Mistakes were made. Sorry, guys. But, hey, the resistance to Trump's deportation policies isn't about compassion. It's not about protecting families. I'll tell you what it's about. It's about political posturing, and it's about virtue signaling to a progressive voter base. These sanctuary policies, all they do is prioritize political optics over the safety and the welfare of American communities. And they disregard the consequences for national security and public trust. And guys, I'm tired of it, and I know you are too. That's why we elected Donald Trump and got him in here. All right, guys, Again, want to welcome everyone in the chat. Hey, Star, welcome to the stream. Let's go. Thank you all, everyone, for hitting that like button, supporting the stream, and also for subscribing. Appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Okay, guys, so I don't know what's going on in Iran, but Mike Pompeo is sounding the alarm, saying we've got to stop Iran now. Something big very well could happen. So, absolutely insane. Check out this latest update, guys, and let me know what you think.
Meantime, the Iranian regime is facing several setbacks this year, with Israel decimating its proxy forces and its nuclear program. It is now weaker and more vulnerable to an attack, and that could present options for the incoming Trump administration how to approach the Iran nuclear threat. Mike Pompeo is a Fox News contributor and former Secretary of State, and we are so lucky to have you this morning. Happy holidays to you. Thanks for joining us. I want to play a quick soundbite for you from Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, here on not only Iran's weakened state, but why that might actually be a problem. They might be desperate for nuclear weapons here. Let's unpack it.
If you're Iran right now and you're looking around at the fact that your conventional capability has been reduced, your proxies have been reduced, your main client state has been eliminated, Assad has fallen, it's no wonder there are voices saying, hey, maybe we need to go for a nuclear weapon right now. It's a risk that I'm personally briefing the incoming team on, and it's something that is the consequence not of Iranian strength, but of Iranian weakness.
Agree with that, Secretary?
Well, first of all, happy holidays to you as well. When we step back from what's taken place over the last now year and change in the Middle East, we can see that America is a lot more at risk. We certainly know that Israel was with the atrocities of October 7th, that so many have seemed to have moved past. The Iranians are weaker. There's no doubt about it. The leadership of Hamas is destroyed. The leadership of Hezbollah is destroyed. No thanks to this administration. President Biden told them to stand down. If they'd done that when they had been told to do so by the Americans, these terrorists would still be alive killing folks. The Iranian regime will have to be dealt with by President Trump. I'm confident he will go back to a model which tries to get to a better outcome. There's no harm in trying to see if the Iranians have changed their stripes, but they've never negotiated. They've always understood that power was the most important thing, and I think President Trump will see that. We see it in all the things he's saying already from Mar-a-Lago. I'm confident he will deliver a policy with respect to Iran that puts more pressure on the regime, gives the Iranian people an opportunity for freedom and liberty, and protects America in a way that always puts our country first.
Wow. Guys, these weak negotiations are only going to embolden Iran's regime. Under Biden, that's all they've seen as weakness. Any deal that fails to fully address Iran's nuclear ambitions, because, guys, this is serious stuff. Any bill that fails to fully address their aggressive behavior is a direct threat to global security and America's safety. History, guys, has shown us that when the U.S. compromises with regimes like Iran, they take advantage of that leniency and they push their dangerous agendas even further. We've got to have strong leadership to ensure that Iran never achieves its nuclear goals. This is absolutely just one of the scariest things to me, and we got to put an end to it. We've got to stop it.
Yeah, Mike, that's what a lot of Iranian activists say all the time, that Iran does not respond to diplomacy, that it only understands strength. We saw that with the Trump administration the previous time around. The Biden White House is leaving here hoping that the Trump administration negotiates a brand new nuclear deal. Is that smart, or should we hold Iran accountable for everything they did these last few years? I mean, we saw what they did with Israel, the proxy war. How should we hold them accountable?
When we were, the question is exactly right. When we were working this very same problem set, we built out what became the Abraham Accords, and it was aimed at peace and prosperity in the region, but also understood that the threat of nuclear proliferation, the weapon systems about which all these leaders are really circling, right? Will Iran end up with a nuclear weapon? That can't be permitted. there will be massive proliferation. More countries will decide to get a nuclear weapon. I'm convinced that President Trump understands that deeply. We had worked to put enormous economic pressure on the regime so that they had no capability to build out that weapons program, that broad nuclear-based program that the world so fears, because an Iran with a nuclear weapon on October 7th would have been a fundamentally different problem set for Israel and the Middle East and for the United States. So we got to get that one right. We have to make sure they never get there. And a new sheriff in town, a new leader in just, goodness, under 4 weeks now will make an enormous amount of difference, Aisha.
So really quickly here, we just have about 30 seconds left. Russia sending certainly a very different message with this Christmas Day surprise attack in Ukraine, basically hitting their energy infrastructure. General Keith Kellogg, who is the incoming special envoy to Russia and Ukraine, basically said that this was wrong. The world is watching. The U.S. is more resolved than ever to bring peace to the region. Just a quick question for you before we go here. Can this president, as he's promised over and over, he wants to end this war, can he do that without Ukraine ceding land?
The problem set in Europe fundamentally happened directly because of the absence of American leadership and American deterrence. Aisha, in the same way that what happened on October 7th was a failure of American leadership. Right. What we saw yesterday, these attacks, these Christmas Day attacks, were serious. President Trump understands this. He's been talking about a conversation with Vladimir Putin that will inevitably have to happen. You have to convince Vladimir Putin that the cost of continuing this conflict exceeds the benefit. And when you don't do that, you get innocents killed all across Ukraine for now over 2 years, coming on 3. Okay. American leadership is important. That will mean leading the Europeans to do what it is they need to do. This is in their backyard. This is a European conflict. President Trump understands that, and we did it for 4 years. We had kept Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine when President Obama couldn't do that, and President Biden clearly didn't either. I'm convinced President Trump and his team can build back a model which will protect America, protect Europe, and make the world more peaceful and stronger as we move into 2025, Aisha.
Got it. Okay, Secretary Pompeo, thank you for joining us. Hope you have a safe holiday.
All right, guys, the incoming Trump administration. Guys, we're all looking forward to it, but Trump's going to put an emphasis on pushing for a rapid resolution to the Ukraine conflict, and that reflects to me a strategic pivot towards prioritizing American interests, because this stance underscores the importance of reducing unnecessary military spending abroad. We're going to refocus on domestic challenges. We're going to avoid endless wars that burden the taxpayer and stretch the military thin. So with the Pentagon's efforts and funding heavily concentrated on Ukraine, this is the question that I keep asking, and I think it's worth asking. Are we neglecting critical security and economic challenges here at home? From broader security to infrastructure needs, I think it's time for us to question whether this level of foreign engagement aligns with the pressing priorities of the American people. When we can't help our American families when the hurricanes come through, right? When we can't help our people in North Carolina, when we can't tell the people in New Jersey what those drones are that are flying up above their houses that are the size of cars, why are we sending billions and billions and billions of our taxpayer money over to Ukraine? I'm just asking a question here on a forever war with no resolution in sight. And I hope Donald Trump gets in there, and I hope he puts an end to it, because this is absolutely insane what's going on. Hey, big shout out again to everybody in the chat, everybody that's joined the stream today. Hey, B1 Sly 1, welcome to the stream. Great to see you. All right, guys, this is huge right here. So hold on, I lost my clip here. All right, we got it pulled up. Y'all check this out, guys, because this is crazy.
Russia's Christmas Day attack on Ukraine sparking a response by the White House. President Biden is now directing the Pentagon to continue the surge of military supplies to Ukraine, which he announced back in September. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Aisha Husney. Dana and Bill are off today. Good morning to you, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Aisha. I'm Rich Edson. A mad dash by the Biden administration to send U.S. military hardware to Ukraine before President Biden loses power. This is President-elect Trump is calling for a ceasefire. His special envoy to Ukraine and Russia says the incoming administration is more resolved than ever to bringing peace to the region.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying Trump will make this very, very clear to Russia's President Putin.
What we saw yesterday, these attacks, these Christmas Day attacks, were serious. President Trump understands this. He's been talking about a conversation with Vladimir Putin that will inevitably have to happen. You have to convince Vladimir Putin that the cost of continuing this conflict exceeds the benefit.
Let's go to senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram. He's got more for us here in Washington. Hi, Chad.
Aisha, good morning. There's a big push by the outgoing president to get as many weapons out the door to Ukraine before he leaves office. President Biden condemned the Christmas Day attack by Russia on Ukraine's energy systems, which killed 7 people. President Biden said the Christmas attack was to, quote, cut off the Ukrainian people's access to heat and electricity during winter. The U.S. has sent $175 billion in aid to Ukraine since the war began nearly 3 years ago. It's doubtful the U.S. will continue assistance under the Trump administration.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into office?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
Mr. Trump says he wants to end the war quickly. Many Republicans are ready for something else.
The big question is, what is our position? What's our plan? What's the objective? And yet we're going forward without objectives, without a plan, $200 billion plus in a war. There's a way to end this with strong leadership.
The incoming president says European allies should bear most of the burden defending against Russia. His former Secretary of State says the U.S. still has a role to play.
I'm convinced President Trump and his team can build back a model which will protect America, protect Europe, and make the world more peaceful and stronger as we move into 2025.
There was no money for Ukraine in the latest government funding bill, even the one which was pulled. And it's doubtful the Republican-led Congress will provide more help for Ukraine next year. Aisha?
Chad Pergram live for us. Chad, thank you.
Guys, got the new headset here. I've been talking to y'all for, a whole minute. Thank y'all. I appreciate you. You gotta hit me in the chat. I'm gonna get this fixed to where this is automated so that we're not making these crazy mistakes in the future. Thank y'all. I don't know what I would do without y'all. But here's the big thing, though, guys. We've got 2 big threats in the world right now. We've got Russia and we've got Iran. Russia has the most nuclear weapons out there. Like, there's nobody that has more than them. The United States probably does not have more nuclear weapons than Russia. Okay? And we're doing everything we can to tick them off. I'm just saying, when somebody has the most weapons ever, maybe don't go poking them. And then we've got Iran. Iran doesn't have any nuclear weapons, but they are on the verge of acquiring nuclear weapons. The same thing with North Korea. I think that where we're putting our money, we should be trying to prevent the major threats, because we know what a Russia with nukes looks like. It's looked the same since the Cold War. Hasn't changed. Russia has never launched, even though they have more than anyone else, they've never launched a nuclear weapon. However, Iran has constantly stated that they intend to blow Israel off the face of the earth, and that's just the beginning. North Korea has threatened over and over again that they're going to send an ICBM into America, blowing up Los Angeles. They've shown the videos, that the CG images of them sending a nuke, blowing up Los Angeles. All right? So we've got these 2 absolutely insane regimes with Iran and North Korea, That's where our money needs to go. We're pumping billions of dollars into Ukraine, and it's like the Biden administration is completely ignoring, to me, the bigger threat, which is Iran and North Korea. Specifically Iran. Iran's the big one. I'm curious to know what y'all think, though. So leave your comment in the chat, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Want to welcome everyone to the stream. Appreciate everybody's support. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. It really does help out the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. A lot of things going on in the world today, from immigration here in the U.S., and it's crazy to me that the sanctuary cities are trying to push back against trying to push back against Trump and the common sense policies from the right, from the conservatives. Just insane. I feel like our country is at war with itself ideologically, and it's common sense versus insanity. That's all it is, guys. It's literally common sense versus insanity. But anyway, hey, I got some announcements for y'all before we end the stream today. First of all, y'all may have noticed the new little logo right up here. So we are going to call the stream The Difference. This is, we're trying to build up the show, trying to bring you the news, but trying to bring it to you from a conservative viewpoint, from a Christian viewpoint, from an entrepreneurial viewpoint, from a viewpoint that makes sense, from a viewpoint that made this nation strong, and from a viewpoint that I believe should continue into the future and should be washed down the drain with all the insanity of the left. But that's just my opinion, guys. If you agree, hit that like button. All right, and come back tomorrow, because we're actually, no, that's the other announcement, guys. No stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. I'm going to be driving, so I'll be out of town. But there will be videos posted over the weekend, so look for those. And then starting next Monday, back to our regular programming, 5 o'clock p.m. Central. So I appreciate everyone for coming out, showing up, supporting the stream. But here's the reason we called it The Difference. I wanted to talk about that because I really believe that we as Americans can make a difference in our families, in our communities, in our cities. We get out there, we stand for what's right, because that's all the left wants us to do. That's all that these they preach this gospel of equality and inclusion, but they have zero tolerance for anyone that disagrees with them. You see the hypocrisy in what they say and what they do. So that's why I want to call this The Difference, because we are here to make a difference, and we're going to stand up for what's right. We're not going to take a seat to the woke agenda of the left. But we're going to stand up for what's right. We're going to stand on our principles, and we're going to keep pushing forward, because that's what we do. We as Americans, we're red-blooded Americans. We fight hard for what's right, for what's true. And that's why I wanted to call this show The Difference. And that is our mission, to truly make a difference in our world. We may be starting small with just a handful of us here, but we're going to build up a team, and we're going to push forward and see what we can do to help this country out, to help out our fellow Americans. But anyway, hey, I appreciate everyone in the chat. I'll go through, read all these. I'm behind in the chat, I know, but again, big shout outs to Mr. Koss, Mr. KOS 1995. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate your support. B1 Sly 1, Gene, Star. Appreciate everyone that made it out tonight. Hope y'all had a fantastic Christmas. And guess what, guys? It's only 364 days until Christmas 2025, and I just think that that the year is going to fly by. Donald Trump's about to be the next president of the United States, about to be inaugurated, put back in office. Excited for that. Excited to see what's going to happen there. So, the future looks bright, guys. We're going to make a difference. We're going to change the world. And we're going to have a wonderful future. So, anyway, hey, again, thanks, everyone, for supporting the stream. Hit that like button. Appreciate everyone. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed for more videos like this. I'll see you again over the weekend with some more videos. Y'all take it easy. And, I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.